This conference will now be recorded.
So what we have discussed till now, let me summarize that and then we will start our new topic. So we started off with understanding what is SAP. Okay, we understood what is SAP S/4HANA. We understood why HANA is faster. We understood what is SAP Fiori, right? And then in our last session, or maybe even before that, we understood the differences between SAP ECC and S/4HANA. Okay, from the technical point of view, although from the functional side, we will be covering these differences individually for each module. And then in our last session, we understood the SAP ASAP methodology, SAP Activate methodology, and what is the difference between SAP ASAP and SAP Activate. Okay, so these are the basic things. No, like whatever is your role, whatever role you are playing in your organization when it comes to SAP as a SAP consultant, you should be aware about all these different things, irrespective of which module you're going for, right? So these are the common things that you must know throughout your SAP career. Now, we understood SAP ASAP and SAP Activate. What are we going to do today is we are going to start working on the project. Okay, so if you want to be benefited out of this training, don't think only the whatever discussions we are having in the class, that is not enough, right? As I told you, whenever we will be starting the practicals, so maybe today or tomorrow, I'll be providing you the system access also. So you have to think in the way like you are a consultant and you are working for a particular organization. Okay, you can consider any dummy organization that you want to consider. Think about their scenarios. If you are coming from the sales background, if you want to go for SAP SD module, you have to understand how exactly the sales organizations works, how exactly the sales department works, what could be the different scenarios under the sales. Similarly, as a MM consultant, you need to understand from the purchasing point of view. As a FICO consultant, you need to understand from the accounting point of view. So you can consider any dummy organization that you want, and you have to set up the same thing in the system. Whatever I'm going to show you in the system, I'm expecting you to do the same thing for at least 2-3 times so that you can get the hands-on and you can feel that this is how exactly the SAP S/4HANA or SAP ECC projects work. Okay, so whenever you are working on the system in the demo project, you have to understand under which phase what are the different activities that you are going to do. Okay, so it is not sufficient to just configure something in the system. You have to understand in which phase you will be doing the configurations, and before you start the configurations, which phase you should be having clear in your mind. So simple question: if you want to do the configurations in the system, if you want to change something in the system, if you want to create something in the system, in under which phase you will start that activity? Under which phase you will go and change the system as per the customer's requirement? We understood the SAP
Development.
ASAP.
Develop
Sorry, Vivek, is there
Development.
anything called is there
phase.
anything called as
Realization
development?
phase.
Okay, yeah, Iqbal. So I think many of you have told development. Is there any phase called as development in SAP ASAP or SAP Activate? Can you just tell me what are the different phases in SAP ASAP and what
Realize
are the
phase.
in
Realize.
Activate? Realization, right? Realization is the answer. See, first phase is, if you're talking about SAP ASAP, it is initial preparation, which is in SAP Activate, it is called as prepare. Okay, what is the second phase in SAP ASAP?
Explore.
Business
Explore,
blueprint.
yeah. Explore is correct, but that is in Activate. If you are following SAP ASAP, it was business blueprint. Business blueprinting, which is now called as Explore phase. What is the next phase?
Realization.
Realization is
Realization.
in, and in SAP Activate, it is called as Realize. Right. What is the next one?
Final preparation.
And preparation.
Right. Final preparation is in ASAP, and in SAP Activate, it is called as
Deploy.
Deploy. Right. And last one, which is when you start go live. When you start doing the transactions in the system, you go live, and it is in called as run phase in SAP Activate. Right. So as I told you, there is not much from the functional point of view. SAP FICO or SAP SD or SAP MM, you don't have to do much during the initial preparation phase. Normally, these are all project management related activities which are required by the management so that they can start working on the project. So maybe you will be part of this phase, because if your manager needs your help in planning something, you can definitely help him out in that. But that is normally done by the senior consultants who has knowledge, who has experience working on multiple projects, and he can help the project managers in the preparation phase. But otherwise, most of the time, as a functional consultant, you would be starting working from the business blueprinting or explore phase. So if you are using SAP ASAP methodology, if you are working on SAP ECC projects, then you will go for business blueprinting phase. But if you are working on SAP S4HANA projects, you would be working on the explore phase. So let's consider we are here. Okay, so even whatever I will be showing you in the system, I will be showing you from the project point of view. Okay, and whenever you are going to practice in the system, you also have to put it in this place that currently I am in this phase. Let me plan first what I want to do, who is my customer, what I need to set up in the system. Once you finalize this, then you will again go to the realize, where you will start the server, you will log in into the server and doing some configurations using SPRO. Right, so that is called as realization phase. So before you jump start to realize, for each and every scenario that you want to configure, you have to think that I'm in the explore phase. Right, so currently in the demo project, you may not have the real customer. You have to consider some dummy customer. You have to identify what exactly are the different scenarios this customer has, and based on that, you will document something, and then you will go to the realization phase. Okay, documentation doesn't needs to be a very detailed document. It can be just a small Word document where you will write that, okay, for my dummy project, this is my customer, these are the different branches this customer has. I'll tell you what exactly are the informations which you need to collect in your Word or maybe PPT, so that you are sure that what exactly you want to achieve out of this project. Okay, so in my case also, what I will do is I will explain you the explore phase. The details we already know, but now we will take a practical example. We will take one single customer, and using that customer, we will try to implement SAP for that customer throughout our project. Okay, so in any project, there is MM also, SD also, FICO. These are the three basic modules that most of the customers are implementing. Okay, so we will not segregate. We will not take a separate thing for MM, separate thing for SD, and separate thing for FICO. Our project is a single project, although we will be having sessions differently, but ultimately at the end of this course, we should have a complete system, okay, which is taking care of the sales, taking care of the purchasing, and the accounting also. Right, so that is something which we want to achieve at the end of this course. So now let me go to the explore phase. Just assume we are in explore phase and we need to implement a lot of functionalities. Okay, so in our scope, we have SAP Finance, we have SAP Sales, and we also have purchasing, inventory and purchasing, you can say, inventory management and purchasing. So in short, this is FICO, this is sales, is nothing but SD. These are the old names. Now in S4HANA, they are called as SAP S4HANA Financials. I'll not say FICO anymore. It is Financials. This is sales, okay, and inventory management and purchasing, or maybe let me write it in the SAP S4HANA language. It is called as sourcing and procurement. Okay, so maybe I'll do this thing. This is financials, which was called as FICO earlier. This is sales, which was called as SD earlier, and this is sourcing and procurement, which was called as MM earlier. So let's assume in our project, these are the three modules that we need to implement. Okay, so the first thing.
So can we say that it will be O2C, P2P, and R2R?
That is also older names. So maybe we can use this. That is not a problem. So financials are called as R2R, which is nothing but record to report. Okay, so this is very important. I have seen many such scenarios when in the interviews, you are giving the interview of FICO and your interviewer is asking what you know about R2R. So they feel that this is a new terminology and they say, no, I have not worked on R2R. So R2R is another name of SAP FICO. It is called as record to report. Thanks for bringing this to notice. This is very important because otherwise O2C and P2P is very clear, but R2R is very uncommonly used, but that is also very important terminology, which is used by some of the companies. So when it comes to sales, it is called as order to cash, O2C, OTC or O2C, both are okay. When it comes to sourcing and procurement, this is P2P, procure to pay. PTP or P2P, it is all okay. So this is nothing but procure to pay. Okay, so let's.
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In terms of my understanding, order to cash includes the sales order cycle as well as the accounts receivable cycle.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, invoice, the accounts receivable is in FICO, but the sales order shipment pricing thing is in SD. And similarly for sourcing and procurement, I think the purchase order cycle, PO and requisitions, this thing is in MM, but accounts payable is in FICO.
Right.
So I do you think order to cash equals to SD, P2P equals to MM? Is it the right comparison?
It is right. I'll tell you why. So many companies, see, definitely if you are only looking from the individual module point of view, then definitely there are few things which will not come here, which will be not the direct part of sales, but they will belong to finance. Similarly, within procure to pay, as you said, there are some things which are related to the MM module, but there are some other things which are actually belonging to the FI module. Okay, but the thing is, when you are working in the company, you have to understand the integrations. See, SAP is an integrated software. Okay, so if you say that I am a SD consultant, I know how to create a sales order, I know how to create a billing, but I don't know how to pay, how to receive the payments from the customer, or maybe I don't know how to how to see whether the accounting document is created or not. That is not my responsibility. That is something which a FI consultant has to do. That is the problem. I'm not saying that is wrong. That is a problem in the industry. I have worked on many projects where as long as it is error related to sales order, as long as it is error related to delivery, SD consultant will solve it. But as soon as he hears that, okay, the problem is with the billing, no, billing is not my part. Billing is FI part. So it should go to FI. That is a wrong approach actually. According to me, that is a wrong approach. If you are a SD consultant, you may not be able to understand the accounting impact. You may not be able to know which GLs will be impacted, but that doesn't mean that you are not responsible for the complete order to cash. You are responsible for complete order to cash. So in some of the companies, see, we are not saying that it is exactly same as sales. These are the terminologies which are used in the industries. Okay, so instead of telling this is my SAP SD team, they will say this is my SAP O2C team. Okay, although this consists of some integration with FI, but still O2C responsibility is with this sales team. Right, so just to answer your question, you are also 100% correct, and others are also 100% correct. When it sales is nothing but O2C, that is also fine. And if you are saying that no, out of OTC there are some parts which are belonging to FI, in that way you are also correct. But ultimately I will prefer to go with this way. The reason being, I don't want to be a independent SD consultant by setting the boundaries that this is my boundary and out of this is my part. If you want to become a good consultant, you need to understand all the integrations with your module. Okay, so you should not restrict that in SD I know up to delivery, but when it comes to billing, that is FI part. No, it is still the part of the sales cycle. So you need to understand that complete sales cycle. Okay, I'm not just telling to you, I'm just telling you that this should be the behavior whenever we are working on the projects.
So completely agreed. One last question. If as part of this training, if my second this thing option or the second module is if I've picked say SD as my module, second module, would I get to understand the end-to-end life cycle of a sales order into shipping, pricing, in account billing, collections, and cash application?
Right.
Or
So
would Mhm.
your primary module is FICO, right? And you want to go for SD.
Yeah, no, I'm just yeah, that's what I'm trying to clarify because I wanted to specialize in order to cash. So if I pick order to cash, would I understand the end-to-end life cycle of order to cash across SD and FICO?
Definitely. See, FICO is not only for O2C. FICO has a lot of other things like general ledger accounting, UGL accounting. There are a lot of other things. So here you will be able to understand end-to-end FICO. Okay, but in addition to this, if you are saying that I want to understand the complete O2C cycle, starting from the quotation to the order to the, so many times this is also called as Q2C, quotation to order. Okay, so this definitely this SD will cover all those shippings and all. So ultimately at the end of sales, you will be able to understand the complete sales cycle. At the end of the sourcing and procurement, you will be able to understand the complete sourcing and procurement cycle.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now what we will do is, as I told you, if you just think about this in theoretical way, it is not going to help. We have to take a project, we have to understand, we have to take a dummy example of a project and we have to think in that direction. So let's assume any suggestions, which company you want to take as a dummy project? Any global company?
We can take Walmart.
Okay, let's take
Let's have
Walmart.
our own name.
Sorry?
Let's have our own name. Gaurav Consulting or
No,
Gaurav Industries.
that is all. So let's take a good example. Walmart, Amazon, these are the very favorite examples that most of the
Okay,
time
that
we
means you are planning to take FMCG, is it? Like or like
it
car
can,
industry, anything is fine, isn't it?
yeah. Walmart is better. Amazon, Walmart, these are better examples because when you are learning PP, in that case, Walmart may not help. Okay, you need a production manufacturing company, but when it comes to purchasing, selling, and finance, I think these are the best examples.
Okay.
And Vikram,
Okay.
we will take like 2 or 3 company codes so that we can do group company code concept and inter company code concept and that all.
Yeah,
Right?
So that is exactly what we need to do currently in the explore. Let's assume we are in the explore phase today, and we have a customer Walmart, and he has invited us and told us, okay, I want to implement SAP. How should I proceed further? Okay, so what are the questions that you will ask him, and based on that, what exactly you will do in the explore phase, and once your explore phase is completed, how you will go to the actual configuration in the realization phase. But again, the thing is, we will not be working throughout the project lifecycle. I'll give you the example. We will not work like, okay, for FI, what are the different things we need? We will not do the explore phase completion and then the realization phase. Rather, what are we going to do is, within the FI, there are different components. Within the SD, there are different components. So we will understand one component, we will configure. Then we'll go to the second component. Then we understand second component, then again we will do the realization. So normally in the project, how it works is, you understand the end-to-end business, you create a document, and then once your all the explore phase is completed, then you normally go to the realization phase. Okay, but in this course, if you follow the same thing, what will happen is, because many of you are completely new to SAP, so if I take another maybe 5-6 sessions just to understand the theoretical knowledge, that may not help. So what we need to do is some theory and then do the practical. Again, you do some theory, then you do the practical. At the end, maybe we will understand whatever we have achieved. So what we have done in the explore phase, and ultimately whatever we have done in the realization phase. So we have to go step by step rather than going big bang. Okay, so let's assume this Walmart. Okay, this is now explore phase. Let's assume we are having a customer meet. We are discussing with the customer, and we understood what are the different requirements. So the first thing is, we will ask the Walmart, how many legal entities do they have? Okay, so some of the important questions I'm writing here, although this is not a comprehensive list, for each and every module, we will be discussing the comprehensive list. Today, let me give what exactly we are doing today, so you'll get an idea. Today, we are discussing the enterprise structure. Okay, today our idea is to understand the enterprise structure. So at this moment, many of you must not be knowing what exactly is the enterprise structure, but at the end of today's session, you should be clear with the different elements in the enterprise structure. Okay, we will talk about that in detail. So for Walmart, if I want to set up the enterprise structure, there are some important questions that I need to ask. So I need to ask some questions from the FI point of view. I need to ask some questions from the SD point of view. So definitely, again, whenever you are working on the project, there will be a separate SD consultant, maybe the team of SD consultant, not even a single. There can be 5 to 6 SD consultants for this kind of project. There can be 5 to 6 consultants who are taking the requirements, who are working on the explore phase. Similarly, there will be another team of 5 to 6 consultants who are working from the MM point of view in the explore phase. Okay, so that totally depends upon how big is a customer, how many consultants are required. But these are the important questions that we need to understand in the explore phase. So how many legal entities? Okay, and in which countries? I'm just writing some of the questions, then we will discuss in detail. So number one, I need to ask them how many legal entities do they have and in which countries these legal entities are. I need to ask him the fiscal year, financial year followed by each legal entity and at the group level. Okay, this is the second question that I'll ask. Third question maybe I'll ask is how many plants, or you can say how many locations. We'll talk about this also in detail. Purchasing structure. When I say purchasing structure, I mean how many purchasing departments they have. Within the purchasing department, how many different teams they have. Okay, so that is whether I need a separate purchasing department for purchasing the materials and purchasing the services, or I have a common purchasing department throughout the world who is responsible for purchasing. So purchasing structure. Okay, definitely from sales point of view, you will ask them sales structure. So how many sales channels do they have? Sales channel means you can say, okay, our company is selling, we have the stores, we can sell online, we are also providing the, you can also order from the application, mobile application. So these are the different ways in which we sell the products. At the same time, how many stores do they have? Okay, because those stores are also considered to be as the sales channels, because whenever you are doing any sales, you need to tell the system that this sales has been done from this particular store, right? So that is a sales structure. So these are at the high level. In tomorrow's session, starting from tomorrow, we are going to bifurcate this batch. So sales guys will only go for the sales related discussion. Purchasing guys will be only discussing the purchasing structure in detail, and FI guys will be discussing the FI, that is legal entities and all in detail. Okay, so today I want to give you the complete picture. I'm not going to discuss everything in detail today. I'm just giving you the overall picture at the enterprise structure level, how exactly it will look like. Okay, so these are the few questions based on which our enterprise structure would be decided. So our target is at the end of tomorrow, we should be having the high level enterprise structure where we know how many legal entities do we need to create. For each and every legal entity, what would be the financial year that they will follow? How many plants need to be created? Okay, based on the purchasing structure, we will decide how many purchasing organizations, purchasing groups need to be created. Based on the sales structure, we will decide how many sales organizations, divisions, distribution channels, sales offices, sales groups. So these are all SAP terminologies that I'm using. So if you don't know these terminologies, no problem at this stage. At the end of tomorrow's session, you will get a clear idea of all these new terminologies that I'm introducing. Okay, so these are the important things that we need to ask our customer. And what we need to do is, let me tell you how exactly the enterprise structure works in SAP. So SAP enterprise structure. Okay, so first of all, what is the minimum number of systems that we need? What is the minimum number of, if you remember, I told you in our SAP landscape, what is the minimum number of systems that we need?
3.
3. What are those? What is number 1? What is number 2? What is number 3?
Dev, QA, and prod.
Okay, so one is development, second is quality, and third one is production system. Okay, perfectly fine. Then if you remember, I told you that in addition to, within the development, quality, and production, let's assume in the development system, this is where we do the configuration. As a functional consultant, we perform all our developments here. Once our development is done, we perform the testing. And once we are 100% sure that yes, this is what exactly customer has asked us to develop, we move it to the quality. In the quality system, user will perform the testing. He will do the end-to-end testing and he will provide his feedback. If he is not happy with whatever we have done, he will send that back. Okay, send that back means he will tell us to make the changes again in the development. We again will do the developments here, move the changes again to quality. So till the time customer is not happy, customer has not accepted that whatever you have done is correct, we will not move it to the production. Once the customer has given the go ahead that yes, whatever you have developed is meeting my business requirements, then we will move this from quality to the production system. Okay, production system is my system which is being used on day-to-day basis. which is being used by the users to perform the actual transactions. This is very critical. We, as a functional consultant, we should not do anything in the production system, not the SPRO and not even the end-to-end transactions. Okay, it is completely responsibility of the end users to do the transactions in this production system. Even in the quality system, we can, if we have the access, many times we don't have the access to the quality system also to perform the transactions. We only have the display access so that we can verify that whatever changes we have transported, whether those are working here or not. But otherwise, we don't have much access to do the transactions in some of the projects. Most of the projects, you will be able to do everything in quality. But in some of the projects, if the customer is very specific that quality system is only for my end users, not for the consultants, so you'll not be able to do any transactions here. Okay, and production, obviously, none of the customer will allow you to do any transaction in the production system. Okay, so this is hardly you will be having, at the most you'll be having the display access so that you can go and see whether your configurations are properly done or not, but otherwise you are not allowed to change anything in the production system. Now, if you remember, I told you whenever you log in, let's assume the system that we are using, this is a development system. Okay, I'm connecting to this development system. Okay, so here, if you see now, I told you that you will be getting a separate for development, for quality and production. And each and every server, or yeah, each and every server, whenever you try to connect, you may get multiple clients, right? So the next activity is within the development system, I may have different clients. Are you getting it? I can have two different clients within the development system. Why do I need two different clients?
One is to do development and another is to do test the development.
Right. So it can be for various different purposes. Or maybe instead of development, let me say I need two different clients in the quality system. Okay, one is to perform the UAT and second is to perform the testing. Okay, so it is up to us. It is not necessary that we need two clients or one client, but just remember that this is the client concept where we can have multiple clients within a particular system. So let's say client, this is first client is for UAT and second client is for
Pre-production.
training. Yeah, you can say it again, up to you how you want to use it. In my case, I am saying this is used for training, providing the end user training to the end users. This is the training client and this is the UAT client. Okay, so whenever you will be logging, first of all, you have to tell the system whether you want to log in into quality or you want to log in into production. Once you say quality, within quality, you need to tell the system whether you want to log into the UAT system or you want to log into the training system. So for example, let's assume this is my quality system. Within quality, I can enter the client. So let's assume 400 is my client for UAT and 800 is my client for the training. Okay, so based on where I want to log in, I need to specify the client. Now within each and every client, what you will do is you will be setting up the complete end-to-end enterprise structure. Okay, end-to-end enterprise structure, which consists of end-to-end enterprise structure, which consists of all your modules. So you will be setting up the enterprise structure from FI point of view. You will be setting up the enterprise structure from the sales point of view. You will be setting up the enterprise structure from the purchasing and any other modules, whatever are in your scope. right? So I don't want to complicate here. That is the reason I'm saying end-to-end enterprise structure, which I'll show you in the next slide. Otherwise, I could have drawn everything here, but that will become too much in one slide. So this end-to-end enterprise structure, I will try to show you here. So first level is obviously client. As I told you, whatever you do under the client. So let's assume this is.
And Vikram, there's no way to copy that enterprise structure from one client to another client.
It is possible. There is something called as client copy.
I see. Okay.
You can do that. That is basis activity. So if you want to copy the things from one client to another client, it is called as a client copy. Okay, so the upmost, like you can say within the enterprise structure, what is the first object which is having the highest node? That is nothing but client. Everything comes within the client. Okay, I'll tell you why. If you configure anything in the training client, definitely that will not be appearing in your UAT client. So whatever activities that you are doing, it is client wise. Whatever configurations you will do, whatever SPRO transactions that you will carry out, that is independent of one client to another client. So if I'm doing anything in UAT client, that will not be visible in training client. If I'm doing anything in the training client, that will not be visible in the UAT client. That is the whole purpose of creating two clients, right? We don't want to mix up two things. That is the reason we created two clients. So ultimately, everything will start from the client. If you see any enterprise structure, okay, wherever you go to, even if you go to Google and try how the enterprise structure looks like, the first thing is that you'll be able to see the client. And the reason, as I told you, is obvious, that each and every client has its own set of data, which is independent of other clients. Even your user ID and password. So for example, if you are logging to this system, if you enter client 400, it may be possible that the user ID and password is different, and your user ID and password is different for 800 client. So in short, these clients are completely independent of each other. Just the number, it is just not the number. Based on this number, the entire thing in the system works. And that is the reason this is a top node within the SAP enterprise structure. Now within client, I will introduce some new terminologies which you may not heard till now, but as I told you, we will keep on understanding it, and whatever is important, we will be having a complete discussion. So within the client, we can have one or multiple operating concerns. Okay, operating concern. Now what is operating concern? So just remember, this operating concern is only required if customer is implementing COPA. Okay, so as I told you, there are a lot of things. I am just giving you the overall idea. There are a lot of things which are not in your control as a FI, as a MM, as a SD consultant, but still you should be aware about the end-to-end enterprise structure. That is the reason I'm introducing this terminologies. So what exactly is COPA? COPA is one of the module, or COPA is one of the functionality within SAP CEO module. Okay, only if you are exactly, COPA stands for profitability analysis. So only if you are using that module, then only the operating concern is relevant. If you are not using this COPA module, then you can ignore this operating concern and you can directly go to the next level. So operating concern is optional. It is only required if a customer is implementing COPA. Within the operating concerns, there can be multiple controlling areas. Okay, so in my case, I'm writing 2. So this is controlling area 1. And this is controlling area 2. As the name itself says, this is only required if you are using which module in SAP? Controlling module. Yeah. CO module. Yeah. In SAP, you have a complete independent CO module. Independent means it is a separate module, but it has a very tight integration with all the other modules in SAP. So below client, you can have one or multiple operating concerns. Within each and every operating concern, you can have one or multiple controlling areas. Okay, so we said operating concern is only required if a customer is implementing COPA, and we said controlling area is only required if we are using CO module. But again, let me tell you, it is not possible. Earlier it was possible, but now in S/4HANA, because there are a lot of improvements, and none of the customer will go without controlling area, right? So controlling area is definitely required. So CO module, in short, is definitely required. So whatever we have written here, we have said that we will be using which modules? Where is that slide? This one. No. Yeah. So we have seen financials, but if you see, there is some part of CO. So even if you are not using detailed CO, for example, we said COPA. COPA is also part of CO. So even if we are not implementing COPA, the basic functionalities of controlling, they will be covered in the controlling area. So controlling area is required even if you want to use the basic features of controlling. Okay, so controlling areas are 100% required in SAP S/4HANA, because without CO, there are very rare scenarios where the implementation will take place. So controlling areas are definitely required, and within controlling area, there comes the different company codes. What is company code now? So let's assume company code 1 and company code 2. What do you mean by company code in SAP?
The legal entity.
Exactly. Company code is nothing but the legal entity. Okay, what do you mean by legal entity? So any entity, okay, whenever you are implementing SAP, let's say you are implementing SAP with for the, let's say, Amazon India. So Amazon India Private Limited or Amazon India Limited, either it is a private limited or public limited, whatever. That is a legal entity. It is registered as per the Companies Act in India, right? Same way, a company which is registered in US, for example, okay, Amazon INC, for example, or SAP AG or SAP SE. So these are the companies which are registered in different countries. SAP SE is a company which is registered in Germany or in the Europe, right? So that itself is a legal entity. So the legal entity means the company which is registered in the Companies Act of that particular country. If you are implementing, if I come to our example, let's assume the answer. How many legal entities and in which countries? If the answer is Walmart has the legal entities, 2 legal entities or 3 legal entities, I'm giving the example. Okay, which 3 legal entities? So Walmart US or Walmart, you can say INC, which is registered in US. So this is my country. Okay, Walmart AG, which is registered in, let's say, Germany. Germany is DE. If you see the, okay, I'll write Germany, and then Walmart India Limited. Okay, so which is obviously registered in India. So let's assume these are the 3 legal entities. This entity is registered in US, this entity is registered in Germany, and this entity is registered in according to India's Companies Act. So these 3 will become my legal entities. Okay, it is not necessary that in India I have only one legal entity. I can have another legal entity also with some other name. Okay, so let's say Walmart India Limited and Walmart Stores India Limited. So we have to check how many legal entities they have registered within India. I have to check how many legal entities they have registered. But in this example, we are considering there is a single entity in US, single entity in Germany, and single entity in India. So these three will become my legal entities, and these three legal entities in SAP, I have to create as company codes. Okay, so initially I'm just writing the normal conventions. I will copy this, and there we will be providing the codes also. So according to Walmart, we will try to fit it into that scenario. Okay, so company code is nothing but legal entity. If you want, I can just write it here itself. Sorry. Okay, leave it. This is legal entity. I'm just trying to remove the further characters. Okay, within the company code, what do you think? What will come within the company code in the enterprise structure? So what will come below the Walmart India? Let's take an example of Walmart India. Within Walmart India, what are the additional things which will come?
Plants.
Sorry?
Plant or cost centers.
Plants will come because within, let's say, within Walmart India, I'll be having different warehouses. Okay, I'll be having different stores, right? So these warehouses, these stores would be normally considered as plants. Okay, so we are not fixing the definition, but I'm just giving you example. So within the company code, there can be different plants. Plants are nothing but the physical locations where you are able to store the material or from where you are able to deliver the material to the customer. So within company codes, there can be different plants. So plant 1 and plant 2. In this example, I'm just entering the two plants. So plant 1 and plant 2.
So Vikram, where group company code will fit in here?
No, see, group company code is not something which is part of the standard SAP system. When it comes to group company, it is, anyways, in SAP, there is a trading partner concept called as company. There is company code and there is company. But that is something which is not being used that much currently, because for group reporting and all, SAP uses a separate module called as SAP BPC, Business Planning and Consolidation. Yeah, we will talk about that also within finance. I don't want to, as of now, I just want to give you the overview. So we will not go in that much detail from the group reporting point of view. But within finance, we will try to understand the group reporting concept also.
Fair enough.
Okay, so within a company code, you can have multiple plants. Within company code, plants is okay. Plant is to store the material. Plant is to dispatch the material. So your warehouse, your stores, everything can be considered as a plant. Now, this company, Walmart India Limited, is also doing the purchasing, right? They also need the purchasing department because they are purchasing the material and then they are selling the material. So in order to purchase the material, what they will need? They need the purchasing department. So within one legal entity, see, there are different options. I can have a single purchasing department for Walmart India. Okay. Or I can have a single purchasing department for a particular plant. So each plant has their own purchasing department, or the purchasing is done at the company code level. So based upon my scenario, I can have multiple purchasing organizations within the company code. So this will come to purchasing. So I can have multiple purchasing organizations. Purchasing departments, you can refer in SAP as purchasing organization. So purchasing organization 1 and purchasing organization 2. Similar to the purchasing organization from where I am purchasing the materials, I can have the sales organization from where I am selling the material. So you can say maybe the store itself is my sales organization. Or within the stores also I can have within the sales organization I have other characteristics which can define my store. But in short, in order to sell the material from SAP, you definitely need the sales organization. And again, similar to purchase organization, I can have two separate sales organizations, okay, which will be also coming under this. So this is my sales org 1 and this is my sales org 2. So at the higher level, this is how the structure looks like. Now, can you tell me who is responsible for each and everything? Who is responsible for creating the operating concern? Who is responsible to understand why operating concern is required and then configure in the system? Which consultant will do it?
Finance.
Finance. Is it
Yeah,
correct?
controlling, I think.
Controlling consultant, right? Finance consultant. See, although in industry, FICO is treated like FI plus CO, but to be frank, the advanced modules of CO, like the COPA, like product costing, it is a responsibility of the CO consultant. Okay, I'm not saying FI consultant cannot become a CO consultant. There are many FI consultants who are working on FI and CO both, but ultimately the responsibility of operating concern belongs to CO consultant, right? So operating concern is handled by CO consultant. What do you think about controlling area? Responsibility wise, I'm not talking about whether I can do it or not. Who is responsible for creating the controlling area?
CO.
CO.
CO consultant, right? CO consultant is responsible for entire controlling module. Okay, that is the reason controlling area, operating concern, these are created by CO consultants. Who is responsible to create the company code?
FI.
FI consultant.
FI consultant. Why? What is the responsibility of a FI consultant? What he is responsible for? He is responsible for all the legal reporting as per the company's legal accounting, in short, not legal reporting, legal accounting. So whatever accounting needs to be done, that accounting is done at what level? It is done at the legal entity level. And that is the reason this legal entities is the responsibility of FI consultant. FI consultant is responsible to set up the company codes in SAP system. What about plants?
PP consultant.
PP. If there is no
Yeah.
PP in,
CO.
sorry Raj,
CO or MM.
CO or MM. Why CO?
SD consultant.
Some of the plant costing can be done by the CO guys. So basically the raw material and other stuff.
Okay. MM also you said. Okay. Any other answers? CO, MM.
SD.
SD
SD.
also, yeah.
Someone said PP, even that should be considered. So in short, plant is a joint responsibility. Okay, plant is a joint responsibility. Why it is a joint responsibility? MM cannot work without plant, SD cannot work without plant, CO cannot work without plant, PP cannot work without plant. Okay, but that is the definition for company code also. Can I implement SD without company code? No. Can I implement MM without company code? Again, no. Company code is the basic thing. If I don't have the legal entity, what I will do? What accounting I will do? And what I will purchase and sell? If I don't have the entity at all. If I tell you implement SAP, for whom? I don't know the customer. How will you implement? You need a legal entity, right? But the thing is, whatever information we need to enter in the company code, that is completely financial information. And that is the reason company code is a responsibility of FI consultant. But when it comes to plant, in plant, we need to enter some information which is related to sales, some information which is related to purchase, some information related to CO, some information related to PP. And that is the reason this is normally considered as a joint responsibility. Definitely, in the project, someone has to take the responsibility to set up the plants, but ultimately this is the joint responsibility which is not coming under a particular area. What about purchasing org? And that is the reason, even if you see I will show you in the system where exactly this plant is placed. Okay, so whatever enterprise structure you will be setting up, you will go into SPRO. You can see there is a folder called as enterprise structure. This is where you'll be setting up the complete enterprise structure. So within definition, you can see within financial accounting, you'll be able to create the company code. There are a lot of other things also which we'll discuss later on in detail. So there is a company code. From here within financial accounting, you can set up the company code. Similarly, within controlling, you'll be able to set up the controlling area and the operating concern. Same way, if you go to logistics general, see for sales, there are different folders. But if you see the logistics general, this means these are the general settings responsible for all the logistics modules. And that is the reason you can see plant is appearing here. Because it is not coming under FI, CO, SD, it is directly coming under the general settings, which means it is relevant for all. Right? So that is the reason I told you plant is nothing but the joint responsibility. What about purchasing organization? Who is responsible for setting purchasing? 100%. Consultant is responsible for setting up everything related to purchasing. What about sales organization?
SD.
SD.
SD consultants. So SD consultants are responsible to set up the organization related to sales. Right? Any confusion here? I'm not going into drilling down. There are a lot of other components. So if I talk from the FI point of view, within FI itself, I can introduce many things, business areas, profit centers, cost centers, but this is a joint forum. So I don't want to confuse you of all the other modules also in too much of detailing of those objects. Okay, but within the, as I told you, within the module specific training, we will drill down the plant also. We will understand what are the storage locations. Within purchasing organization also, what are the purchasing groups. Within sales, what are the distribution channels, divisions. So that detailing we will do individually for each module.
Vikram, I have a question.
Yeah.
How does Ariba fit in this MM module? Like, because in Ariba also we can create purchase order and all those stuff. So in that scenario, how do we integrate with that? Is it?
See, Ariba is an external tool. As long as Ariba is concerned, it is a cloud-based tool which can be integrated with your SAP component. Which means if you are, as you said, you are creating the plant, a purchasing organization, if these things are already created in your SAP system, and if you want to use Ariba, then maybe you need to do the interface that whenever a new plant or whatever plants are already created in your SAP system, they will be mapped to the Ariba system.
Okay. So then the purchase order will not be created from the MM module, is it? That's what I wanted to understand.
Raj, it totally depends. If you want to go for Ariba, you have to decide what would be your source object, whether the purchase order will be created in your SAP system and it will move to Ariba or the other way around. So it completely depends upon which tool you are discussing, because Ariba is one tool. Similarly, there is Hybris, there is SuccessFactor, there is BPC. There are many other external tools which you can connect to the SAP system.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Vikram, what about MDG, Master Data Governance?
Master Data Governance. So master data governance is normally used for creating the master data. Okay, we have still not introduced what is master data, so I think we can park this question. Whenever we'll be discussing about material master or GL master or cost center master, customer vendor master, at that time I will give you the overview of what is MDG.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on this particular slide? Anyone has any questions? So maybe let me put this is very important, otherwise it will create a confusion. So within one client, you can have one or multiple operating concerns. Okay, within one client, we can have multiple operating concerns, one or multiple. within the operating concerns, we can have multiple controlling areas. Okay, within one operating concern, we can have multiple controlling areas. Similarly, within the controlling areas, we can have multiple company codes. Okay, and then within company codes, we can have multiple plants. You can see within this company code, I have plant 1 and I have plant 2. But this purchasing organization, I'm not saying it is linked to plant. This purchasing organizations and sales organizations, I'm also saying that within one company code, there can be multiple purchasing organizations and there can be multiple sales organizations. Okay, so I'm not saying this is linked. They are definitely linked in the system, but I don't want to unnecessarily confuse here. So this whatever I have written, purchasing org and sales org, I'm trying to say they are part of the company code. So within company code, there can be multiple purchasing orgs, and within one company code, there can be multiple sales orgs, or the other way around. We will discuss this in detail. As of now, I hope you understood what is operating concern, what is controlling area, what is company code, what are plants, purchasing org, and sales organizations. Any questions on this? Okay,
No.
now what I try to do is, I will try to understand the explore phase, and I will try to provide the values here. So let's assume we already discussed, customer has answered this question, how many legal entities do they have? They have Walmart US, Walmart Germany, Walmart India. So this is the answer from the customer, based on which we will try to set up our organization structure. So customer is using single operating concern.
Vikram?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Herman. One quick question. You just mentioned that operating concern is only required for the COPA system, but within the operating system, we have a controlling areas, and controlling areas are mandatory for the SP4 HANA. So this means operating concern is also mandatory for the SP4 HANA?
No, Herman. Controlling area is used for other functionalities of controlling. COPA is just one functionality of controlling module. So if you are not using COPA, operating concern is not required. You can directly create the controlling area within the client. You can skip the operating concern step.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do now is, I'll try to put the values here. So our operating concern, let's assume most of the companies, they use a single operating concern. So single operating concern for, I'll say Walmart. This is a single operating concern for Walmart. Now within Walmart, if I go to the controlling area level, normally, again, 99% or 98% of the time, most of the companies will only use a single controlling area. Okay, because what is the purpose of having the single controlling area? They can do the management accounting. They can look at their internal reports at the group level. Okay, and that is the reason, let's assume Walmart is using a single controlling area. So within operating concern, there is only one controlling area. Now within this, we agreed how many company codes, how many legal entities do they have?
3.
3 legal entities, right? One in India, second in US, and third in Germany. So this is, let's assume, Walmart India. This is, let's assume, Walmart US, and last one is Walmart Germany. Okay, so these are the 3 legal entities. These are the 3 company codes we need to set up in the system to configure this scenario. Okay, let's go to the other questions now. So financial year followed by each legal entity and the group level. Okay, so this answer will definitely help me in financial enterprise structure, but it has nothing to do with the hierarchy that I'm drawing today. So let's assume US and Germany, they normally follow Jan to December financial year, while Indian legal entity follows April to March. So this is the answer that you got. This answer we will use in our FI related configuration. No need to discuss it as of now. How many plants? So let's assume they have given you the requirement, but I'm just putting in India. So for India, Walmart has 2 warehouses, just for example. Okay, one in, let's say, Bangalore, and second in, let's say, Mumbai. So these are the 2 plants which confirmed by Walmart that these are the 2 plants that I want to set up in SAP. So what I'll do is here in SAP, I will say plant 1. See, you can see within Walmart India. Within Walmart India, the plant 1 is in Bangalore and second is within Mumbai. So these are my plants. So within my company code, these are my different plants. Same way, we ask the question to Walmart that how many purchasing, what is your purchasing department structure? So they said, I have only one purchasing department for each country. Okay, which means Walmart India has one single purchasing department, which is Walmart India. Walmart US has one purchasing department, which is Walmart US. And Walmart Germany has a single purchasing department, again at the country level, which means I'll just copy this. So single purchasing department, single purchasing organization is required for each country. This will become my purchasing organization. Okay, same way, let's assume the sales organizations also are available at the country level. So I'm just pasting this. Let's assume these are my sales organizations. So this totally depends. Whenever you are setting up this enterprise structure, believe me, deciding the enterprise structure itself can take few months. Okay, it is not very straightforward. On day one, you ask this question, they provided the information, and I'm ready with the enterprise structure. There are a lot of factors to be considered in the enterprise structure. Okay, and as I told you, when we'll be discussing this tomorrow, module wise, we will understand what can be the different scenarios, when to propose what. We will try to discuss everything in detail. Right?
And Vikram, there is no way to see this tree structure in SAP. If we go to any company, can we go to any transaction or anywhere where we can see these trees? Oh, it is possible. Okay.
I'll show you. When we will configure our scenario, I will show you how exactly it looks like. Okay. Clear on this? Any questions? So totally based upon the business requirement. In this example, we kept it simple. We said there is only one purchasing department at the country level, but we can have 10 different purchasing departments at the country itself. So accordingly, we need to create the purchasing organizations, and accordingly, we need to create the sales organizations. Any questions?
Coming to this sales organization, currently we are defining only one for our country, India. Now, like if you see like Amazon India, Amazon.com, 2 things will be there: if globally procuring and locally procuring, and say something globally selling and locally selling. So such examples can we do here, like having like 2 purchase organization or 2 sales organization just for testing ourselves?
We can do that, but to be frank, normally for that purpose we don't create the separate purchasing organization. Within purchasing organization, we have a purchasing group concept. So purchasing organization India, but within purchasing organization India, group is, let's say, what 2 examples you give? Local and
look, I'm procuring, I'm importing the goods. like I'll have the conditions differently, purchase orders differently, duties, everything. When I procure locally, my things will be different. So the knowledge areas, people will be different, right? Like purchasing group, importing
So there are
and
two options.
purchasing local.
Yeah, Nagesh, there are two options here. One is you can go for the separate purchasing organization. If you have two separate teams responsible for two separate activities, in that case, you can go for two different purchasing organizations, or you can go for single purchasing organization, but you will divide them into two purchasing groups. So it totally depends upon how much is a deviation. If it is just a deviation that you want to segregate, then you can go for purchasing groups. But as you said, if my conditions are different and there are a lot of things which are different between purchasing organization 1 and 2, in that case, we recommend to go for the separate purchasing org.
But what do you call the configuration wise and like going forward, like how complications are there, we don't know. So I thought like if we can have one such scenario, it will be nice.
No, definitely we will be discussing that, Nagesh, but that will be discussing during the MM module.
Okay, fine.
Purchasing related. Yes. Okay. So what we have done till now, this is just one example that I'm trying to show you, that we have understood the business requirements. Okay, when are we going to do this? We are going to do this in our explore phase. In the explore phase, we will ask the questions, we will see their system, we will take the interviews, we will be using whatever techniques you want to understand what exactly this customer wants, how exactly they want to do their transactions in SAP. So based on that, you will come up with the answers. Okay, so in this one, it is just a small PPT that I am using, but in actually you will be creating the Word document or maybe PDF. You will be submitting it to the business. You will take them that, okay, this is what I got the requirements from you. Am I correct, or there is any deviation? For example, they may have told you fourth company, but you missed to write it. So it is always good to verify these things, whatever you have written, before you start doing the configuration in the system. So that is the purpose of explore phase. In the explore phase, you will understand the requirements, you will capture it, you will document it, and then you will take the sign off before you proceed to the configuration phase. So if this is particular thing which is accepted by your business, then you will go to SAP system and you will try to set up this in the whatever node. So currently we are discussing about enterprise structure. That is the reason you will go to the enterprise structure. If you are discussing about the other scenarios related to FICO, related to MM, related to SD, you can see there are separate modules for each and every particular activity. Right. So in our case, if I want to set up the enterprise structure, I will go to this enterprise structure folder. I have to first define. Okay. So for example, I need to set up the company code. If I want to set up the company code, I will go to this particular transaction. If I want to set up the plant, I will go to logistics general and I will open this plant related settings. If I want to define the sales organization and purchase organization, those are available within sales and distribution and materials management. So you can see, even if you are using SAP S/4HANA, the module wise, if you see internally, the names are not changed. This is not sourcing and procurement here. It is still called as materials management. So terminologies, you need to understand both. Okay, don't get confused that whether it is sourcing and procurement or it is MM. So even in SAP S/4HANA also, we have the MM, we have the SD functionalities, but the name has been changed. That is the only difference. Yeah, any questions? Okay. Also, at any point in time, if you feel that I want to see the standard best practices, if you remember, I shown you the documents which you can download for best practices. If you are not able to download, I already told you that I will download on your behalf. So maybe this week I'll be sending you all the relevant PDFs. So if you remember, we discussed about the best practices. Okay, and if you open any best practice document, SAP has provided the default company code, default purchasing organization, default sales organization. So at any point of time, if you want to have something for reference, like how exactly SAP is configured. For example, You are trying to configure the purchasing organization and you are getting confused, what should I write here? So what you can do is, in order to refer, you can go to this purchasing organization 1710. This is the purchasing organization which is pre-delivered by SAP. If you follow any best practice document, by default SAP is using this purchasing organization. SAP is using this also as a sales organization, 1710 as a company code. Okay, so just for reference purpose, at any point in time, if you want to verify how exactly SAP configured this particular thing, you can go to 1710, even as a company code also. Okay, obviously, whenever you will be practicing, before that, I will be showing you those scenarios. So I'll be also configuring the new company, new purchasing org, new sales org. So you can always refer to that also. But in addition, in the fresh project, whenever you are working for, let's say, new implementation, and you want to have some kind of reference objects, you can always go to the best practices and you can find out what is being configured in company code or sales org or purchasing org 1710. Right, so this is a pre-delivered object. Whatever is configured here, this is pre-delivered by SAP. So you can utilize this as a reference object, but definitely you need to create your own based on the best practice.
So how did they take the scenario, Vikram? And like how many plants and this and that, or did they take just one of each?
They see, whenever you go for any best practice documentation, let me try to open one if I have. I think yesterday itself I refreshed my laptop, so I'll not be having, I have to download. Let me do that for you. Just give me a minute. Okay, please confirm if you are able to see my screen once again. So if you go to SAP best practices, okay, and if you go to on-premise, okay, these links I provided to you in my last session in SAP Activate related session. So it will open rapid.sap.com. You can directly even write that also. It is taking time. Let me try this one. So they have provided that complete detail, which plant you should look for, which purchasing organization you should look for. So for example, whenever you want to create a purchase order, what data they have provided, even the master data they have created for you. If you just follow them, it will be like you don't need to create anything on your own in the demo system. But definitely as a consultant, you need to understand how to configure those things. Okay, so let me log in so that I can see the full content.
Even these are Fiori tiles they have used for their own site.
Yes. Even these are Fiori tiles. Even SAP Notes, Launchpad and all are using Fiori nowadays. Fiori is a GUI which can be used for any technology. So they are using it for even this best practices also. This link is normally too slow.
And also, Vikram, will you provide us S4HANA dumps, like if you want to appear in exam or certification?
No, I will not call them as dump. I have some questions, but I will not call them as dump. I don't want to just I don't want you to just go through those questions and appear in the exam. I want you to prepare well, and then, so I'll provide you some sample questions, but those cannot be considered as exams. Those can be considered as a sample question so that you can get a feel how what kind of questions can be asked in the exam.
Yeah, maybe a knowledge bank sort of thing, like
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Too slow. Oh, it just appeared, and then let's see. Okay. So as for HANA, within this we are looking for on-premise, and within on-premise we are looking for best practices for SAP S/4HANA. Okay, so I'll just try to open one document. Okay, let's say within sourcing and procurement. Okay, within sourcing and procurement, I'll show you the basic scenario, which is operational procurement, procurement of direct material. Okay, this one J45. Okay, this will allow me the Word document. If you remember, I shown you last time the test script. Okay, let's open this.
Hey, Vikram?
Yeah.
Do we need any particular ID or some kind of authorization to download these things from the Google?
Yes. So if you're not able to download, that is the reason I told you I'll be providing you these documents.
Okay, thank you.
Download it and I'll keep it in the share folder.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, so you can see this one. This is a test script. Okay, in this test script, SAP has used the sample companies, whatever they have provided. So if you see here, master data, organizational data, I already told you about the roles in our last session, right? So if you want to use this, if you want to go through this end-to-end scenario, which are the different roles that you need to provide to your end users, or maybe even if you are working on this end-to-end scenario in the test system, you will need this roles to be provided to your user ID. Then only you'll be able to see these applications which are provided in this document. Okay, so if I go to the next one, you can see master data, organizational data, and other data. So this is the information which is provided by SAP. You can see in this case, plant 1110, storage location 111A, another storage location 111B, company code 1110. So according to country wise, SAP has provided different company codes. 1710, which I'm referring to, is mainly for US and I think Germany. But apart from that, there are some other company codes, also some other purchasing organizations also. So you can see SAP has already pre-delivered this content. So if you go to our SAP system and look for 1110, this is GB. You can see for UK, I think. So 1110. Here it is showing Japan, but this is what SAP is talking about. This company code 1110 is the sample company code provided. So your answer, you can see not only purchasing org, sales org, it is also providing you plant, it is also providing you which storage location, it is also providing you which purchasing group. So all these things are pre-delivered by SAP, which you can refer, but definitely whenever you want to practice, you will not be using this. You can just refer to, maybe if you are getting confused, what should I write to this particular field, what this field is relevant to, you can always refer to the standard objects, but ultimately you have to create your own ones whenever you want to practice on the system. Okay, clear on this?
Yes, Vikram. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to start doing the configuration. So next part is we will be doing the configuration module wise, and for that we need to segregate. Or maybe what I can do is I can continue for next few minutes. Let's try to set up the company code, because that is anyways required to be understood by each module. Okay, so I will start with setting up the company code. We decided that we are in our group, we have 3 company codes. I will just show you how to create one company code. Okay, and then you also need to, I will divide this into groups also. So you will be working on the groups to configure few things that we'll be doing on weekends. You have to set up that before the end of next week, right? So let's go to the company code. So in order to
there will be different timings then.
Timings will be different, obviously. Yeah, we will discuss on that. Maybe after this session, I will plan the timings and I'll be sending it to you.
Okay.
But it will be in the morning itself. So we will continue from 7:30 till 12 o'clock. We will try to finish it off. All the things, all the 3 things.
Yeah.
Now, so Vikram, you mentioned now we'll be starting with company code, right? How about the client and operating concern? Are we not creating them now?
Operating concern, as I told you, operating concern is something which would be done by controlling. Okay, so that is in our scope as of now, but later on, once we complete the FI part, there is a overview to see you. In that, I will show you the operating concern also. But again, the high level. Not be going
now
in depth.
we will be assuming that these things are already done by the controlling guys, if at all necessary, and then we are going ahead and creating the company codes.
Exactly. And you asked about the client. Client is not our activity. Client is the activity of basis. So we already have a client 400, which is already set up, and whatever we are doing under the client 400.
Client 400.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So your company codes are set up from the enterprise structure. You will come to enterprise structure. Within the enterprise structure, there is a definition folder. You will come to definition. You will go to financial accounting, and within financial accounting, you will be able to execute this particular. So there are 2 buttons you can see here. One is documentation. Okay, if you want to know what is company code, so you'll click on this. It will open the document for you, which will try to explain you what exactly is a company code, what is the purpose, what are the different fields. So what should be the key, what should be the name, how we will be entering the address, what is the currency field, what is the country field, what is the language field. So all the descriptions, if you feel that before I enter any information in the system, I want to understand what this field is all about, what details I should enter to this field, you can come to this documentation and it will give you the complete picture. Got stuck. Just give me a minute. Okay, so if you open this, second is this execution program, which will actually open that particular activity. So you can see there are 2 options: copy, delete, check the company code. So if the company codes already exist, you want to delete it, or you want to copy from it, or you want to just see that, you can go for this first option. Otherwise, if you want to change something, you can directly click on the second button. And you can see here new entries. There are already some company codes which are already created in SAP. You can see there are many company codes which are already available. In addition to that, if you want to create your another one, you can click on the new entries. Okay, so if I click on the new entries, it will open the new form. It will ask me which company code I want to create, in which city, what would be the country, what would be the currency, and what would be the language. So in our example, let's say we are creating this for Walmart US. Each and every company code can have up to 4 digits unique code. Okay, so whatever I'm explaining, this is all same for plant, purchasing org, sales org. Wherever you go, you have to provide one code which should be unique. I cannot have 2 company codes with the same code. That is not possible, right? I have to provide a separate code for each and every legal entity. So for example, if I go for Walmart, so WM US, just to provide the unique code. So Walmart US. Similarly, the second entity that I create would be Walmart India, Walmart Germany. So based on that logic, it should be very clear what exactly I'm creating. Okay, so again, this coding and all this you have to propose to your business and they have to approve it. It is not that I liked a WMUS, that is the reason I created company code WMUS. You have to tell the business why you are proposing company code WMUS. Why not the number? Why not 1000? Okay, why not WM01, WM02, WM03? So it totally depends upon what you agreed with your business. Okay, so that are the discussions that you need to have with the business, what coding they want to use. But we are assuming that you already discussed with the business and you have decided to go ahead with this code. So company name would be the complete name, whatever you got. The legal, this should be exactly the legal entity name, because you are going to generate the reports based on this. So this is, let's say, Walmart Inc, for example. City, in which city, which is a registered office of this particular company code. So let's say it is New York. Country, SAP has provided the list of countries. 2 digits codes is provided to each and every country. So you have to select from the list of countries. In our case, I'm just writing US because SAP has a country US. Again, currency, there is a list of currencies. You have to select from these currencies only. If you feel that a particular currency is not appearing here, you need to report to SAP. Okay, you can also create it, but most probably all the countries in the world, all the currencies in the world are already pre-delivered. Okay, so currency would be USD because this is a US entity. When I'll be creating the entity for India, obviously the currency that I'll be entering is INR. And the language. So this is the default language, which I'll keep it as English, EN.
Vikram,
Okay.
with the currency USD, that doesn't mean that Walmart US can do the transaction only in USD, is it?
No, when we say currency USD, this means all my legal reportings will be happening in USD because my company is registered in India.
Yeah.
You are filing the tax. Will the Companies Act will allow you to report in USD?
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, you're right.
Of course not, because all the calculations are based in INR. So you have to report everything in INR in India. But that doesn't mean that I cannot do any transactions in USD. If my customer is US customer and he's buying my services,
yeah,
okay, so definitely I'll be charging him in USD. But ultimately that USD has to be converted to INR before it is prepared for the report.
Yeah.
Right. So this is not the transaction currency. You can do the transaction in any currency. Ultimately, what financial reports you are going to create is currency.
Okay.
Okay. So in SAP, there are different types of currencies. One is transaction currency. Transaction.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Vikram.
I think Vikram is not audible.
Hello.
Yeah, Vikram is not audible.
Hello.
कंपनी कोड क्रिएट कर सकते हैं ये भी सेम सच है सब जाना करना के करना Hello, is Vikram there?
Yeah, Vikram is not audible.
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Vikram, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. Okay, what I was talking about, the currency. So there is a different transaction currency Transaction currency is the currency in which you do the transaction, and then there is a
Hello.
I think we lost him again.
He's gone again.
Oh,
hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
Vikram.
like
yeah, we are able to hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Have you understood the difference between transaction and local currency now?
Yes,
no, we
Vikram.
didn't hear that. We missed that actually. If you can please repeat it.
and your voice is also wavering, Mr. Vikram.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
now.
Yeah, I can hear you
Yes.
now. We missed
There
what
is
you
some
said about the
problem.
currency.
Yeah, there is some problem with my network. So I was asking, have I completed my difference between the transaction currency and the local currency? Have you understood this?
No, please
I,
repeat.
No, we
Okay,
couldn't hear that part actually.
no problem, no problem. Let me repeat. See, if I have a company in India and if I am providing the services in USD, say a customer in US, and he has asked me that I want this particular material, what would be the cost? So definitely I'll be charging him in USD, right? That when it comes to my local reporting, whenever I'm reporting in my in taxes, I cannot report that in USD, right? I'm showing in, correct?
Vikram, your voice is breaking.
So what does it?
Clear.
Your voice is breaking.
Is it still?
Yeah, it's not clear at all.
Okay, let's do one thing. Maybe there is some network issue. Can we continue from here tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, no problem.
I think that is
Yeah.
rather than disconnections. Okay. So what I want from you guys, you already have my WhatsApp number, most of you. Just ping me with your module. Okay, I have the details, but I just wanted to cross check so that I can send you the correct invite for tomorrow. My voice is okay now?
Yes,
Yeah,
sure, we'll ping you on
yeah.
WhatsApp.
We'll bring you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so from tomorrow onwards, we will see all these things in the system. I will explain you this company code and all from scratch.
So, but what timings and you're saying that separate?
So FICO will continue at the same time, 7:30 a.m. FICO, there is no change. For MMNSD, it would be, I'm planning around 9:30 and then maybe 11. So I'll speak to you guys because for few sessions, MM and SD will be common because we need to set up the plant, we need to set up some common organization objects. So for one or two sessions, MM and SD will go hand in hand, and then again it will be distributed into two parts. So tomorrow it is like FICO will continue at 7:30 and MM and SD will continue at 9:30.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vikram, Oh, Vikram, are you there? Vikram,
Hello.
can you hear me? Yeah, Vikram, I sent a message. I spoke to Govind. I sent an email to Govind.